All right, guys, we just finished filming with Tony Ramirez, TFTI BBQ, and it was amazing. Tony is such a down-to-earth guy, soft-spoken, and just cool as a cucumber. I love his content. Tony was a great conversation. We got into everything from how he films his content, what inspired him to write the book, and everything he's getting into now, and how the barbecue family has really lifted him up around what he loves to do. So please watch the episode with TFTI BBQ. That's money.
Now that's a perfectly cooked wing when the meat just slides off the bone like that. Now that's money.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Duce Raymond Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Tony Ramirez. What's up, Tony?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
What does TFTI stand for?
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get that from?
I learned that acronym years ago, and I think I over abused it when I found out about it. So I told everybody TFTI, and then people started using it back at me when I started posting pictures of food and barbecue on my page.
I could see that all the time.
Yeah. So when it was time to create a page, I was like, let's just call it TFTI BBQ. Everybody's always giving me the TFTI.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, your content definitely stands out. I said beforehand that I've been watching you for a while. So when did you actually start posting online?
Back in 2021. Like right in January 2021. I was always posting pictures and stuff for years on my personal page with food. And how that goes on your personal page, nobody gives a shit about that. They're just like, if I'm not invited, like, I don't care about your pictures. But my wife at the time was sending me like TikTok videos of other influencers at the time, some big names. And, I was just like, that's just not my thing. And then finally I just kind of gave in after several months and was like, fuck it. I'm just going to start posting, see what happens. And it kind of just took off.
It's really cool because you developed, I don't know if I went back and looked, I'm sure it's evolved along the years, but sure. You've got a really cool style. Like, you get the one pic with you holding it up front, then you slide the rubs. Like, you've got your style. When you're watching a TFTI video, and I really, really, really like that. Yeah. I think that helps your audience, and just, it's a scroll stopper. Like, they know when they're watching one of your videos. So I think that's good, man.
Right on. I appreciate that.
Is that something that you worked towards? Were you consciously doing that, or is that just developed over time naturally?
Yeah, just developed over time. I'm always trying to look for cool shots to just be different. I always wanted to stand out amongst everybody else, and everything is just kind of like what I think is cool, and then it just so happens to work, and everybody else thinks it's cool too. So
yeah, you got a good eye for it.
Thank you.
Do you do your own shooting and editing, or do you have someone helping you with that?
No, everything's done by me. I cook, I film it, I edit it. Just one camera, so I'm just, moving the tripod around. Yeah, I had no cinematography or videography or whatever you want to call it background. It was just, I watched a bunch of YouTubes, some creators, big names like Philip Leon. I watched a lot of his stuff, and that's kind of where I learned it, how to use a camera, and then just trial and error,
And did you start with an actual camera, or did you start with your iPhone and kind of work your way up with more equipment?
I started with my phone, and then just slowly invested in myself, and started buying cameras, lighting, and now it's like a full production thing in my backyard.
Yeah. I know. It's similar for us, man. We started just Matt with his iPhone filming me, and then just slowly added the mics, added the lights, and more cameras. And it's yeah, when we do filming at my house, we started just doing it at the shop, and now we do some at my house and some at the shop. But yeah, when it comes in, we have a girl, Bianca, that films us, and she brings the lights and the cameras and everything. It looks like a movie studio, and it's just filming some barbecue video.
Lighting's everything, man. That's what I've learned, I see a lot of people filming, and then they're just using whatever lights in their backyard. I'm just like, dang, I kind of taught myself that, and also watching videos, but like lighting is key when it comes to getting good shots.
Yeah, agreed. And barbecue lends itself to, it just looks dynamic on the screen with the right lighting, and you get the shine, and then the different colors and textures of the meat, especially like you get a dark brisket with that pink smoke ring and a nice glaze on it. I mean, it's like naturally looks good. You just got to not mess it up too bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's start talking before everything you're doing right now. When you were growing up and your childhood, what was what stood out to you that, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. When you grew up, what was your favorite thing to eat that your family made that you would just be looking forward to, that something that stands out in your memory?
My mom's cooking for sure. She would make she was like Filipino and Cajun. My father's Filipino. But yeah, my mom would make gumbo, her style, chicken adobo, her style, like all the comfort foods. Even though my father was a cook too, growing up, he never really cooked because my mom ruled the kitchen. She wouldn't even let him in there. But just everything my mom makes stood out to me. It's a core memory of mine.
Your mom was Filipino but grew up in like Louisiana?
She was half Filipino, half Cajun from Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
And then my father is Filipino from the Philippines.
You got flavor baked into you, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Both those cuisines are so high flavor profile. I did an internship at Heaven on 7 when I was still in culinary school, and I still take a lot of those gumbos and jambalayas and etouffees, and just the layering of flavors in that cuisine is amazing.
Yeah, and that's the same when it comes to like Filipino food too,
Mm-hmm. So what, were you always into food, like back then growing up and stuff? Were you trying to poke your head in the kitchen and get your hands dirty?
I was always just backyard barbecuing. I grew up around that. I have a lot of family out here, and that's kind of what we all did when we hung out, especially here in the Bay Area. Backyard barbecues like part of everybody's lives, and it's just those times where you're just hanging out, watching baseball, football, barbecuing, pounding beers, taking shots. I just grew up around all that. Just regular barbecuing.
What's Filipino barbecue to you?
Me is family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Family's always first, and most of my family out here is Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be that, and then if you want to get to like the culinary side of it, Filipino is just, it reminds me of like street food, which is when I went to the Philippines back in 2000, everything out there in the Philippines is cooked over fire. Whether it's a pan over fire or just like barbecue on skewers, it's just that culture behind it, cooking over fire, the sweet flavors of like some of the barbecue stuff. There's a lot of vinegar, a lot of soy sauce, a lot of garlic pepper, that kind of stuff is what Filipino barbecue is to me.
Yeah. I love the open fire aspect. That's something that I think about a lot, is like, no matter what culture you're from, there's some sort of open fire cooking or barbecue there. And I just love that. I love to take little pieces of those cultures and like put them into some cuisine and like pair it with like some traditionally smoked meats as we think about it in America, and then pair some of those flavor profiles with it. I think it's so cool. You can take a little bit of from all over the place.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I like seeing like or trying out like a dish that is typically made in the kitchen or something, and like cook it with fire. That's kind of like what I like to do, like just turn everything into backyard barbecue.
That sounds good to me, for sure. So before you got into barbecue, you were really into cars. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I've always been like a car guy. Grew up around cars, lowriders out here in the Bay Area, and then I got into like modern muscle cars. Was in a few car clubs and started my own back in like 2005 or 2006. We ran that for several years. Cars was just always my thing, and then it was one of those things with the club, like when we'd have our club meets, it was always here at my house, and I would always just barbecue for the whole crew and their family for years, and then with this social media thing, when it kind of took off, I just didn't have time for the club anymore. The club is just a hobby. It doesn't make me money. It's a money pit.
Yeah.
Anything. But when this social media stuff started, I started making money off it. I was just like, you know what, I need to like put my focus on this and kind of just step down from the car scene.
How long did it take, like when you were running social media, before you started to see the potential here and you're like, yeah, I need to, work on this. I can actually make a living doing this?
Like within the same year, I kind of seen it, seen other people doing it. I would get, a couple of little brand deals, just the little tiny ones. And, that right there kind of sparked it for me. And I knew that this was something I can take further because it's something I love. And if I gave it my 100%, I believed in myself. And that's one of the most important things when it comes to doing this kind of stuff. And I knew I can be up there with the big boys. And that's what I pursued. I just kept going at it, reinvesting in myself, reinventing myself. It's landed me, where I'm at today.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. Did you have any mentors or somebody coaching you, or any advice or tips that you can talk about that you received that really kind of put you in the right direction?
Just like my close peers, like Al Fragoni, Mike Starr from Blazing Star Barbecue, Chuck's Flavor Train, just being around those guys and we always just bounce ideas off each other. And, whether it's brand deals or, like cooking wise and, just learning from your peers, especially when you're with like a good circle of friends that like nobody's really competing with each other. We're just wanting to watch each other grow. And that's what's helped me throughout this whole thing. Like I'm still learning, you know what I mean? Like every day gets new. Now there's like freaking AI shit, I don't know, like eventually I'm going to have to learn that, I feel, and,
yeah. Oh, definitely. You got to get baby TFTI cooking some ribs.
Dude, like it's getting crazy, but yeah, like you surround yourself with like-minded people, you're all going to grow. And
yeah,
that's what I believe. And, the barbecue family has taught me that.
That barbecue family is tight, man. It's really cool. I just met Al for the first time when we had that Royal Oaks Ambassador meetup. And, and that was right before, like the week before everybody went down to Memphis. So they were saying that they were going to see you down there. And it was so cool. I reached out to you and you hit me back right away. And I was like, hell yeah, man, this is awesome.
No, I love your content too, man. When you're in the kitchen and shit, like, I like that kind of style. And then, when you hit me up, I was like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's so cool. Down. Yeah, so it seems like every time there's a big barbecue event, you're like with that crew, Al and those guys, but you're at all these big barbecue events. Did you ever expect that or think about that as you were getting started with this?
No, not at all, man. I thought I would. I'm a real homebody. I like to just be home, and that's why, like, I invite people over here, and that's why I have like big parties here because I don't like going anywhere. But I thought I would just stay here, but like, slowly getting invited to stuff and going out, like, stuff like that. It's scary to me. Like I'm always overthinking it. Like, oh shit, what should I do? What should I bring?
Yeah.
Like who who's going to be there, But, as I started going to more and more, I got invited to more and more. And then now it's just one of those things, like, I know when it's like summertime, like from like April to like August, I'm pretty much busy just traveling the world,
Yeah. No, that's so cool. Shoot, what was I going to say? This is what it was. So when you're out and about at those events and people start recognizing you, like, talk us through that, like when that first started to happen and everything, did it surprise you? Were you like, oh man? And now when you go to like Memphis in May, everyone, especially in the barbecue world, has seen your face at one time or another. So it's just like more, sometimes I think it's weird because it's like they are looking at me like they know me, but I have no idea who they are. And so I'm like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, dude, that really started like towards the end of 2021, like when, not even really a year into it. But yeah, and it still feels the same today, like I don't look at myself as like anybody famous, man. I'm just a fucking backyard guy that likes to cook and eat,
Yeah.
But like my kids love it, and like, yeah, like it is weird. Like it does feel that way. Like I can see them looking at me, or like when they start talking to me, like, they feel like the way they're, the way they're talking to me, they feel like they know me.
Yeah.
And like, just like, dude, like I don't know who you are or nothing like that. And it's cool. I'm definitely humbled by it. I'll never take that for granted because like I'm where I'm at today because of those people. So I give them my 100% when they come up to me to say what's up. A lot of times you can tell, like, they want to get a picture and they're just awkward, or not awkward, but like shy to ask.
Right.
And a lot of my close friends, so they kind of already know the thing because it happens a lot for me.
Yeah.
They break the ice and they're like, hey, you want to get a picture? And they're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
So, they do that. My wife does that now too, kind of, same thing. Just, hey, do you want a picture? Because that's what
makes them feel more comfortable too. Yeah. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it's about, trying to make them feel comfortable, because then I feel comfortable, because if they're awkward, I'm awkward,
I hear you for sure. For sure. When you were talking about the barbecue family collaborating, I mean, I've seen that for years within like the competition barbecue guys, the restaurant guys, everyone's there to support each other. But now it's really cool because of, we're posting content and getting to meet people like you. I also got a chance to hang out with Grilling with Dad. I know you guys were together not too long ago too, but he came over to the shop and just talking to him, and same thing, it's kind of a different industry or segment of the industry, but he's sharing what's worked for him and what he's working on. And I was telling him the same. And it's just such a cool thing. Like you said, it's like you want to be the best, but it's not like we're in direct competition. There's so much abundance out there. That's why I tell people.
So much room, man. And, and one thing like I know, and like I try to tell people is like, clapping for the next man is not gonna slow your, momentum down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Clap for your friends, support your friends, and, you'll get that same support back, This is something that I never thought would happen to a guy from Hayward that grew up in gangs, all kinds of stuff. Since 2021, hopping on social media, it opened up a lot of doors for me. So yeah, I love social media, changed my life. My hobby, like I always had the hobby of cooking. It was always a passion of mine. But social media really brought it out, brought my creativity out. I really took in a lot of, my culture into barbecue. I learned a lot from countless people that are also online, people that came before me. I still learn from them to this day. I still even learn from all the new guys that hop into the scene. What my life has become today is a testament to the power of social media. Everything, all the friends I've made, all the partnerships that I've made, everything from me being able to do this full time here in my backyard to support my entire family. It's amazing. And it's crazy to think, like where I came from.
So one thing that I really like, I felt like this man is awesome. When I saw you do that post, when you were just sitting at a table, you had a Miller Lite, and you were talking about the release of your book and how much your mom influenced you and everything, that just hit me like, man, that is such a real post. Like, I just thought that was one of the coolest things I've seen. And it just was like, man, it almost makes you emotional thinking about it, because I know, like, everyone's got their own struggles and their own story. And, you know, to see that in real life, it was so cool, man.
Yeah, that I didn't think it was going to get like that kind of feedback, but so many reached out to me saying that how much that hit home for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so awesome to me. That's giving me goosebumps right now thinking about it. But and it wasn't meant to be like that. Like, I'm a real private person. You know, I keep my social media and my private life separately. You know, that's just how I am. And like, talking about my book, like, my mother is the inspiration behind the entire thing. And so, like, my boy Carlos was the one filming it, and there was no direction. He would just kind of like, other than like, you know, come from over there and just sit down and then just talk about the book, and then cracking the beer thing, and then everything else was just non-scripted. You know, I just started talking about it, and then, you know, when I talk about my mother like that, you know, I get real emotional, and it was just. Yeah, the feedback I got from it was amazing, you know.
Is your mom still around?
No, she passed away in 2020, like right before I started all this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad, same, right about the same time in 2020.
Yeah.
And you know what's odd about that is you think about them more after they're gone. That whole next year, I was like, it was always on my mind, and it's crazy because it's like, it's true, like, you don't appreciate all the things you have until they're gone sometimes. And
exactly,
it's tough. My dad lived, you know, about 4 hours north of me. And, you know, I would talk to him, but not nearly enough. And I'd go up and see him, but not nearly enough. And like I said, you don't appreciate always until they're gone. But I know he's still looking down, and I know your mom's looking down at you. So proud, dude. So proud. That's awesome.
For sure, man. Part of it that made me want to do this was my mother. She was the big cook in the family. One of her favorite things, and you already heard, you know, me talking about her and her cooking, but one of her favorite things that she loved the most was cookbooks. She was an avid cookbook collector. And so, like, when they reached out to me and told me about this opportunity and how, you know, my style of cooking was so different, and how I should 100% do a book, I thought about her. I thought about how proud she would be about it. I thought about her wanting to buy 100 copies and having them in every room in the house. You know, that's the type of person my mom was. She was real supportive. And so I went ahead and took that leap. As much as I didn't want to, you know, like, I knew it was a lot of work. I've put in a lot of work these past 18 months, and it's finally here.
Talk us throughout the whole journey with the book. How did you have that idea? Did someone come to you about it, and how did that all work out? Yeah,
the same publishing company reached out to me maybe 3 years ago, asking me if I wanted to do a book, because, you know, they loved my style. It's the same people that did Derek Wolf's books.
Okay.
And then I wasn't ready then. And, you know, I kind of like held it off. And then finally it was just like the last email. They're like, you know, like, to make the deadline, you know, we got to start, you know. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just not ready to do a book. It wasn't also just being ready. It was just like, I didn't feel like it was going to, you know, I just didn't have faith in myself doing the book, you know. Mm-hmm. And then a year later, you know, they reached out to me again. This was almost 2 years ago, because the book was about 18 months of work. You know, I finally, you know, gave in, and we just went ahead and did it. It was, and one of the things that I had in the back of my head again was my mother. You know, she was a big cookbook collector, and I was just like, you know what, like, let's just do it. You know, like, I'll do it for my mother in honor of my mom. And, we went ahead and did it. And, 18 months later, we had a book.
That's so cool. Was the publishing house fair to you? Do you feel like that whole deal worked out good?
Yeah, it was good. And Derek Wolf, he's another guy like I looked up to a lot. And then he's the one that
he's got the Fire brand. Is that him? Am I thinking of that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Over the fire cooking. Yeah.
Yep.
And he told me like they're cool people, this and that. When I got the contract, I showed a bunch of other people. They were like, "That's pretty good, man." And it's been doing well, man. Like the first launch day, like I got it, or the day after, 2 days after. I'm sorry. My PR guy reached out to me saying, like the sales, and they were just like, dude, like it was like 15K sales. It shipped.
Wow.
Launch day, yeah. So I get majority of that was Amazon, their algorithm ordering a big bulk again, and then but that was pretty cool, man. Like,
it's for sure cool.
Pretty good.
I think some people. I've been talking about doing a cookbook, and people say, "Well, why would you do a cookbook? Because all your recipes are online, and it's so easy to get information out." But there's something about a cookbook, dude. There's like you want it in your hands, you get to see it. Flip the pages, see the pictures, and I still think it's really cool. And definitely, if you go to like Barnes and Noble or something, man, there's so many cookbooks and like good ones too.
Yeah, I didn't realize like so many people that have a book till I started coming out with my own book, and I was just like, holy shit, like everybody got a book.
Yeah,
no, it's cool, man. It's one of those things, like we all grew up like before the digital world, so just having a physical copy of a book, like it's pretty dope. And you could just have it, like mine, like I have a copy that's like in my barbecue shed on a stand, and like I could just flip through it versus like trying to find it on my phone, it's just different.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So what is there anything new coming up, like as far as creating content? Is there anything that you've been thinking about that, you were going to change your style or focus more on YouTube versus short form, or what are you focusing on now?
I'm going to start focusing on more long form on YouTube. We're going to, like we had this Ember sting over a year ago that didn't work out. But my show on there was, like the Cribs of Barbecue, and it was one of the most popular ones on the show. So we plan on, or me and a couple other guys, we're going to bring that back and solely live on YouTube, where it's like Cribs of Barbecue, where I'm like going to people's backyards and checking out their setups and having them cook their favorite dish,
Nice.
So we want to start doing that kind of stuff. And other than like, my short form stuff, I mean, I don't need to switch it up. Like it's working for me. The last thing I want to do is try to switch it up and, my shit flops or something, Don't need to change something if it's working,
Yeah. Yep. That's like a car. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So what has been like, explain to me, because I met Al for the first time, and he was telling me about that big, I can't even remember what it's called. He's going to be mad at me. The big event that he does down in Texas where all the barbecue guys come down there and just cook, and it's like a big party. But what is that?
It's the Texas Open Fire Meetup.
Oh, Open Fire Meetup. That's it.
Yeah. I watched that grow. The very first one was in 2021. It was just a handful of us. And then now it's this big mega festival, but it's 3 days. 1 day is open to the public, but it's pretty dope, man. Last year and the year before was like, the biggest ones, and it like over 100 influencers from around the world, from like 17 countries, go out there. The first day is like a party day. The second day is just for us. We prep, and then we have things that we get to do, like some master classes, stuff like that. And then the third day is like a competition, and it's a friendly competition, but we have that, and then serving samples to the public, and then you get, thousands of people that come there. But it's one of the best events, man. Like, I go every year. Like I said, I've been going there since the very first one. I'm one of the OGs, what calls it. But it's definitely an event you don't want to miss. You're never going to get that many influencers from around the world and other countries all in one spot. And then there's huge networking opportunities. The biggest brands are there. It's one of those things, man. You got to go, dude.
Yeah, I know. Well, Al was definitely pitching it to me for sure. It sounds amazing. My problem is getting away from the family for that long, because I've taken, I don't know, like 3 or 4 trips already this year, which is a lot for me. Usually I'm in the business and at home and not that much. But I did some stuff down at the Cater Source convention, and then I did a couple things with Royal Oak, and what else? There was one other thing. But yeah, I know. It sounds amazing. I know I would have a great time, and I just love getting out and cooking with everybody too. And that's so much fun, dude. That's so much fun. Seeing everybody's style, and I love to compete too. Like, I mean, I know it's friendly, but it's still like, you want to show up a little bit.
Win. Yeah.
For sure.
No, cooking with amongst your peers is one of the funnest things, man. Especially like when you just came back from this Memphis thing for 3 days, getting to hang out with like 24 people just cooking side by side over fire for 3 days is an amazing time.
You guys were at Smoke Slam, right?
Yeah, Smoke Slam.
And were you guys cooking for the public with that, or what type of event were you? What was your role actually within Smoke Slam?
Yeah, we were cooking for the public, so we served about like over 5,000 samples to the public for 3 days. Yeah.
So Smoke Slam kind of like paid you guys to come and put on a show, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
More so, like Al's team, and I've been there since last year, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It's the Alfregoni live fire experience, is what they call it.
Alfregoni.
He's a man. That would come live fire.
Yeah, it was really cool. I spent some good time with Al when we were down in Atlanta, so he's a good man. And I've seen him online for sure. I've seen his stuff online, but I never met him. So it was cool to, just expand my barbecue network too, which is always good.
Yeah, Al's a cool guy, man. He's one of my best friends.
That's awesome. So you've done like a decent amount of brand deals. How do you decide like who to work with, and like walk us through that? Like, obviously you're working with like companies like Char Griller. I don't know if you're still doing that, but I've seen that in your videos, and Miller Lite, and how do you like think about it, talking to someone that's just getting started, and how to analyze who you should work with, or what's a good deal and what's not a good deal?
Yeah, like I don't have no agent. All of that stuff is I do myself. But from the beginning, like I would just take in what I can get to, for exposure. Especially ones that like, that aren't bad, like as far as brands. I didn't just take everything, But and as I started growing, like I wanted my brand to be represented amongst good brands. So then I started nitpicking on like what brands I want to work with and ones I don't want to work with. And then just seeing like, the caliber of those brands. And then slowly from there, it became, it's like now I'm working with the bigger brands. And now it's like, they're reaching out to me versus me trying to find brands to work with, because at the beginning that's what you're doing. You got to find brands, especially if you don't have a big following. So you got to reach out, and then you got to build those relationships. And once you build those relationships, they turn into bigger contracts down the road if you're constantly working with them. Char Griller has been by my side since the very beginning.
That's awesome.
Like I wasn't even getting paid at the beginning, and then slowly started getting paid, and and like that's a brand like I believe I'll probably be representing my entire career. because they've always been there from the beginning. But yeah, you definitely want to work with, brands that, well, at least for me, is, good brands that I want my brand to be affiliated with. You just don't want anybody once you start building a following,
That's what I try to think about, is like, what brands or what products would I be using, whether they're paying me or not,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's what I try to line up with. And it just makes the whole process a lot easier. You're already using it. You're not going outside of your, realm of expertise to try to use this some one-off thing that you're not going to use in real life,
Exactly. It's so much easier that way. And, and like this same brands that you don't work with yet, but it's something you use a lot, you represent them online and tag them, eventually they'll reach out to you. And that's what's happened to me. If I see a brand that I like and I want to be a part of, I'll show it. I'll prove it from the beginning, before like I'm even talking to them, like I'm using their products in my videos. Then next, they reach out to me like, hey man, we love your work. And
Yeah. That's a Gary V thing. He talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta do it. If you want, if you want to work with Nike, start putting Nike stuff in there and talking about their product, and eventually something good will happen. So yes, I have to take some more of that advice myself. For sure. Okay, talk about a little bit about you have access to, now I remember, I have two things. So you have access to all these different rubs and seasonings. You can see them in your beautiful, that looks like a big toolbox that you just go back. Yeah. And you're already stocked up, but now I heard recently that you're starting to make your own rub. So what's that like?
That's cool. I mean, it's like flavors that I've always used. Like, so this first one coming out is a Cajun honey rub, and it's based off some of my first viral videos. It was like Cajun honey butter salmon was one of my biggest ones. Cajun honey butter wings. So it's based off that. But I've always got approached to come out with my own, with other people, other brands, to collaborate with my own seasonings. And it was just something I wanted to do on my own, and which is what I did. I believe it's flavors. I mean, I try so much, so it's like, I know like this ain't out there yet. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to do like some craft seasonings, some cool stuff. And it's pretty cool. And then this rub, like, you mix it with the melted butter, then it becomes a sauce. It becomes a Cajun honey butter sauce that from my videos. So
I remember that salmon video. That was a while ago, but I still remember it. And to get views on salmon is hard in the barbecue world.
People still make that recipe to date. Like when my book came out and it was in there, like immediately, like I was seeing videos of people making that, because I took the recipe down, off my website.
When you're talking about like the website, you have everything you're doing on social, and then do you focus on your website? I know there's a bunch of barbecue influencers that really focus heavily on their website as their main focus, because that's theirs. They own it. Something could happen to TikTok tomorrow and we won't be able to use it anymore. So is that something you're starting to focus on?
I mean, I focused on it a lot when I was coming out with the website, and a year after, I slowly, I don't update it enough. Maybe I need to hire somebody to do that, I feel like, which is probably what I'll end up doing. I'm just so busy, the book, I was so busy doing the book, and then now with my rub, it's definitely something I want to do, because I hear, other people, like you just said, like you mentioned, and
like, hey girl, hey, check out her website.
Yeah, like I definitely want to, like, I think my website's cool as shit. Like the guy, one of my friends that helped me build the website, made it into a dope website, and it's just something like I need to, focus on more and update it more.
Yeah, I feel the same. we've been focused on like the e-commerce side, so we switched everything to Shopify. But now learning more about it, it's like, and this I learned from Grilling with Dad was talking to me about it, is how you actually need to create like a separate website that, you know, you can send a link to your Shopify to sell your products and everything like that. So you have the tracking, but then your main website is where you post all your recipes and everything like that. And you can start generating ad revenue just with the people go into your site and
Yeah. I've heard about that too. And that's something I definitely want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. But like you said, there's only so much you can do, you know.
I definitely need to start hiring for other things, you know, because everything is just all in-house, man. I do everything myself. You know, my wife, you know, just finally like, you know, retired from her job this year to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's something like I can pawn off to her.
Yeah. What's your goal for like how many videos each week you produce?
I don't really have a set. It's just I'm constantly cooking. Like I have meat on the grill right now. It's the food that I cook in my videos is what feeds my family, you know, every day. So I'm just constantly knocking out videos. Some days I'm doing 2 videos, 3 videos. I have like a library of videos I haven't even posted yet. I like to stay ahead, so I'm at least a month ahead all the time. That way I can travel a lot and have posts ready to post while I'm gone. And then when I do come back, I try to catch up on it. But
you post every day? Like,
no, I just post like every other day or sometimes every day. There's, like I said, there's no real set schedule. I have a lot of brand deals, so I got to get those out every month. And I have like a dry erase calendar for the current month and the next month of like the brand deal posts that, you know, where it's like I got to post that day, and then I just kind of pepper in all the other ones, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. Then you can start selling your own brand too. That's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, with the book and everything else too.
Yeah, eventually I want to, you know, steer away from, you know, a lot of or majority of the brand deals and just, you know, I want to focus on, you know, my own stuff, you know.
No, that's smart. I think that there's a lot too. I've been talking to a bunch of different guys about how important YouTube is, and it's something that we haven't focused on as much. It's kind of like a whole nother beast, you know, short form.
Yeah.
It's got its own challenges, and it's, you know, hard enough just to do like a kick-ass short form, but then YouTube is a whole nother production issue, like both on the front end and the back end.
Yeah.
On social, like on Reels or TikTok or whatever, they have all the tools in the platform that, you know, make it useful for editing and adding the closed captions and everything. But on YouTube, it's like you have to do that all off-site. And this is not my expertise. I was just repeating what Matt was telling me, and I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, that's the same for me, man. Like all my long-form videos that I have on there now was from a friend that filmed it and edited it. Like I don't have time to scour through that much footage, you know? Like I'm shooting just money shots of everything, you know, just clips for these short forms. But like YouTube long form, you're like filming like freaking like a whole hour's worth of stuff, you know? Like, I don't have that time. And that it's definitely something I need to, like when I focus on my YouTube more, like I need to find like a dedicated videographer that works for me, and that where I can just knock out videos, you know, several times a month, you know, because I mean, I'm building my following on there. I have like 350,000 followers, but a lot of that's just from my short forms being on there.
Yeah, from the shorts. Yeah. We don't have that many, but that's how we built our following on YouTube too. Is just was a shorts. When shorts first launched, we had some bangers go off, and it's like you got a lot of followers that way.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. I like, I like, I think my last long form was like a couple of months ago. So it's like something like I needed, like Al hired a guy, and that's how Al's doing all his long forms now. Like the guy comes in or flies down, stays at his house for a weekend, and then that weekend they're knocking out like 4 YouTube videos, you know, so that there goes his whole month, you know, because once a week or something like that, you know. And then, you know, Jeremy Yoder, like he has his wife that does all that. So they knock out videos, you know, like there's a lot of people that have a certain someone that does it, you know, for them. Because we just don't have the time for that big of an animal, you know, like you said.
Yeah. What's next for TFTI? Do you want to do restaurants or more products, or what do you, aside from the rub, what's your long-term goal? Like in 5 years, what do you want to be doing? If
I'm gonna move out of California, that's what I want to do.
You sick of paying those taxes?
I mean, I've been here, you know, 46 years. I'm over it, you know, like we're ready. We already talked about it for the past couple of years. We're aiming for the end of next year to move to Texas. So
nice, dude.
That's going to be a big move for us. I feel like my brand would flourish out there. Maybe I, you know, can open up something out there if, you know, if that's the idea. But right now, like, I want like generational property, land, you know, for my family. I have 2 little ones.
How old are your kids?
12 and 10.
Okay.
So that's my big goal, you know, is to move my family out of there and start another life out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of space out in Texas, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they love barbecue. And I'll tell you what, man, as much as, you know, there's so much barbecue in Texas. All the restaurants, everyone's got their own sauce and rub. On the Duce's Wild website, just a little Chicago brand, we sell more product to Texas than anywhere in the country.
Nice.
And it's the same with Royal Oak. We got to see some of their metrics and their sales numbers and where it's coming from. They sell more product in Texas than anywhere else. It's like those people love barbecue down there.
Yeah.
It don't matter how much they had.
Yeah, I definitely want to get out there and just be in because I go to Texas a lot, man, and I love it. I love the love out there I get, and a lot of my good friends are out there now, and it's just I just need to get out of California, man. I'm over it.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you share quick where everyone can find it if they don't know and they want to see some of your videos?
Yeah, on all social media platforms, TFTI BBQ. Sometimes there's a dot in between on some of them, TFTI.BBQ. Or you could just go to my website, which is, TFTIBBQ.com. It has all my platforms on there. It has my recipes, my book, merch. I'll have my rub on there first before it hits Amazon. And that should be coming within the next month or so. So stay tuned for that. Yeah.
What kind of merch do you have?
I have a lot of stuff like these hats, That's Money shirts and sweaters.
That's money.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. a lot of cool stuff.
That's awesome. Oh, shit. Well, when are you coming to Chicago?
I don't know. Whenever you guys invite me, man.
Yeah. The invite's open, man. We're literally like 5 minutes from the airport from over there. So if you do come, definitely let me know you're in town because we're right down there. I'll come pick you up.
Yeah, my layover from Memphis on the way home was in Chicago.
No way.
But it was like a quick layover. I had to run. It was like 40 minutes, so I had to run to my other terminal.
How far is the Bay Area from San Diego? I probably sound like I don't know.
7 hours, maybe. Yeah.
My sister lives down in San Diego, but that's the only time I get down to California.
Yeah, we go down SoCal a lot. You know, there's a lot more events out there, more barbecue events than there is in Northern California. I think the biggest Northern California event is my backyard party that I have.
That's awesome. Oh, before we get off, I forgot to ask you about the 49ers event that you did with them. Kind of set that up for us. How did that all come about?
That was mainly Chuck. Chuck, he's connected with one of the players. He's catered for them a lot. And then Brock Purdy wanted to throw a barbecue for his O-line before the season, which was over a year ago. And then Chuck hit me up. He's like, hey, man, like, you want to come help me? Dude, that was an instant, like, fuck yeah, dude. I want to come help you. So yeah, we went over there and it was at Brock Purdy's house. You know, we
No
cooked up.
way.
I did some party ribs, which Brock Purdy loved too. He was like
Yeah.
at for seconds, but it was gone.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So it was cool, like just hanging out with those guys. You know, they were like playing beer pong, like they're just being like some normal guys. You know,
Yeah.
like maybe more so like frat boys. You know, like we overhear them talking, like, oh yeah, let the rookies grab all the ice. You know, like you know. You know, it was pretty cool, man. And like, you know, Brock Purdy's like a straight humble guy, man. Like, none of those guys act like they're better than anybody. They were
Yeah.
just like, dude, I love your barbecue, man. You know,
Yeah.
so it was cool, man. It
And
was
all those
definitely
guys check out social. They probably seen you before too. A couple of them have had to have say
yeah,
something.
for sure. A bunch of them followed me after that. You know,
Yeah.
big guys like Brock Purdy. I think he has like somebody that handles his
Yeah.
social medias, but like a lot of the other guys started following me after it, and they still follow me. So that's pretty cool, man. That was
That's
definitely
awesome.
a cool experience because they had just came back from the Super Bowl, which they lost. But yeah, it was so surreal. It's like, dude, these guys were just at the Super Bowl. I'm over here barbecuing for them. It was pretty dope, man.
I'll tell you a funny football story. So back in the day when my dad and my uncle had the sauce company, and this was like back in like the late 80s. So after the Bears won the Super Bowl, they were like, they have these events. I don't know if you've ever been a part of one where it's like a golf course and they have like a celebrity or whatever game. And then each hole has someone like kind of sponsoring the hole.
Yeah,
And so
there's one out here in San Francisco that I did 2 years ago.
So this is, like I said, back in the late 80s. So my dad and my uncle had the sauce, and they were like handing out rib bones at a hole, and the Bears were playing. And so Walter Payton came up, and he was eating ribs. And so my dad and my uncle they're brothers. They're both like 300 plus, like big boys back in the day. And then they had a little brother, Mark, who's just like normal size, like, 165. And Matt's going to have to bleep this out, but I want to tell you. So Walter's like eating these ribs. He's looking at it. He's like, you guys are brothers? And he looks at the Uncle Mark, the smaller one, said, what happened to you, boy? Ain't you eat no?
It's awesome.
No, the football players are great. It's so,
Yeah.
The other time it was actually similar, but I was there. It was like just like 5 or 6 years ago, and Richard Dent from the 85 Bears was at the hole, and we were like handing like one rib bone out to like normal people, and he like sat down in the cart and he ate like a whole slab of ribs. He didn't care. Other people were like waiting in the back. He's like, these are too good. I'm just staying here.
So Sweet Baby Ray's, is that like, are you a part of that, or
Yes. So my dad, I should have told you that before, but my dad is the chef that created Sweet Baby Ray's. So
yeah, I was like seeing the sign behind you. You're talking about it, and then I'm like, your last name's Raymond. Like, what?
yeah, that's exactly it. So
Holy shit, dude!
yeah,
You should have definitely led with that at the very beginning.
that is usually how I lead things when I'm meeting people, because everybody knows Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah.
But
awesome.
so my dad created the sauce back in 1985, and my uncle was just working at a pharmacy filling prescriptions for nursing homes. So my dad had a good job, and my uncle wanted to enter into a rib contest. So my dad made the sauce for my uncle to enter into the rib contest. And at the time, this was back in the early 80s, it was the largest rib contest in the country, called the Mike Ryko Rib Fest. And they actually won second place out of like 700 contestants. It was massive.
wow.
Downtown Chicago, you could go back and look at an old YouTube video. It's just crazy, like smoke all over the whole city. It was crazy.
Oh, wow.
And so my uncle quit his job and started selling the sauce, like not having any understanding of the business. But they got so lucky because of the timing. Because at the time, there was only like Casey Masterpiece and Kraft barbecue sauce. So they just, like, without no knowledge of the business and just like one step at a time, they took $2,000, barely a high school education and a dream, and built it into a $30 million brand. And then in like 2001, they sold to Ken's Foods. And when they sold to Ken's, we retain the rights to use the name for restaurants and catering. And so that's what we've been doing. We opened our first restaurant in 2005. I have the small barbecue restaurant and then the catering brand. And we actually have like a fancy catering brand called True Cuisine. And so that's what I do. I run that business, and now I'm starting Duce's Wild. And I started posting on social media to try to sell more catering, like because of the whole awareness and just getting the word name out there. As it turns out, it doesn't convert that easy to catering sales.
Yeah.
But we're having a lot of fun growing it anyways. And we're doing some brand deals, and we're getting more awareness for Duce's Wild and along the way. So that's been good too, for sure.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for that story, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
So Duce's Wild is like a restaurant?
So Duce's Wild is right now. It's just sauces. I'll send you a package of stuff. It's just sauces and rubs right now. Yeah, when we get off, I'll get your address. But so right now we have sauces and rubs, and it's going to be a restaurant. We're building the first restaurant next year. You know, we bought the property and everything. It's just like the whole construction and getting the city on board and all that stuff. But probably this time next year it'll be open.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that too. Because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I am totally grateful and like humbled by the whole. Even though we don't own the sauce brand technically anymore, it's still part of my family. I still, when I was telling you about my dad, it's like, I just know he's so proud of what I'm doing now, and you know, he's looking down for sure. And just to be able to see everything,
that's dope, man.
Like, we barely got started like doing all the videos and stuff online, like when he was still alive. So, and I know he was already like critiquing what I was doing, because he's a chef too. So he was like, he would have been so fun to talk to about it now.
That would have been dope to have him in some of the videos.
I know, dude. It is so crazy, because if we saw this video that he did back in like 1982, and it was like, it's so funny to see like how it's just totally different back then, like the old fuzzy screen and everything. But
if my mom was still around, like I would for sure have her in a bunch of my videos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
That's cool, man. That's hella cool. Yeah, like I mean, I think everybody grew up using Sweet Baby Ray's, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that's part of American. It's like having Heinz ketchup in your refrigerator now. It's
exactly, dude.
Yeah. So it's cool to be associated with the brand, and we're using the name for the restaurant and the catering business now, but I can't use it forever. So
yeah,
that's how the contract's written. So Uncle Dave has to be 51% owner, and as much as I want him to, Uncle Dave's not going to live forever. So that's why we start, not the only reason, but a reason why we started Duce's Wild is to kind of have a succession plan after we can't use the name Sweet Baby Ray's anymore.
For sure, man. You always got to have a backup plan.
That's it for sure. Well, Tony, man, this has been a really good conversation. I appreciate you coming on, and I definitely want to keep in touch. And
for sure,
I'll send you a DM and get your address and send you some products for sure.
Dude, I'd love to come out to Chicago, dude. Do like a collab in the kitchen, bro.
Dude,
like,
you got to, anytime. I'm actually doing one with my check next month. I'm going out to his house, so we're gonna do a video at his place.
I'm going to be throwing you guys a TFTI every time I see that, man.
Yeah. That's so good. I'm going to start using that.
I've been telling Machek I wanted to go to his house for Machek was one of the guys like I used to follow before my page, you know?
Yeah.
And I see how his backyard is now, and I'm like, dude, when are you going to invite me over there, dude? He's came to my backyard. Like, I'm waiting to go to his backyard. So I'm definitely going to be all up in your comments like, TFTI, man.
I got to use that for sure. That's so funny. Yeah, we're doing that. I think I don't know when it will come out, but we're filming June 10th. I think I'm going over there. So nice. I'm looking forward to that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say? I keep losing my train of thought. Yeah, too much going on. Anyways, I'm sorry, dude. I don't know what I was going to say.
Well, take your time.
Yeah. Well, anytime you're coming to Chicago, for sure, let me know. I would love to have you. And
what I just did, that little stop in the airport, that was probably the only time ever I've been in Chicago.
Seriously?
Yeah. I definitely need to go, man.
Well, if anything, maybe I'll see you at the open fire thing down in Texas.
Sure, yeah. You definitely should go.
Yeah, I know. I got to figure that. That's like in November, he said, I think.
Yeah. Yep. November. Like the first or second weekend.
I got to sneak out.
Yeah.
I got to sneak down there. For
Bring
sure.
your family, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got 3 daughters and they're 15, 13, and 11. So they would definitely think it's cool.
3 girls. So 4 girls in your house.
And a girl dog, too.
And a girl dog. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I tell people there's always someone crying at my house. What?
Damn. I had a boy, then a girl, and I was like, oh, that's it, man. We hit the jackpot.
Yeah, it is. You got it right. I was so hoping for the last one to be a boy, but didn't work out that way. But glad to.
Don't tell her that, though.
No, she's heard it, but I wouldn't change it for the world. She's she's 11, but she still sneaks in my bed and sleeps by me.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, brother, this has been awesome, Tony. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, great meeting you, man, and shopping, dude. This has been dope.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the fun ones, man, for sure.
That's good. That's good. I will definitely grab your address and send you some product. So
okay, hell yeah, man. I appreciate that, dude.
For sure.
And likewise, dude. I'll send you mine when mine's out.
Definitely. Love to use it. I do stuff with other people's stuff. Not as much because I have my own stuff.
Yeah, of course.
I have to use mine. But I did a video with Heath stuff. I'm gonna do stuff with Grilling with Dad. I think that is such, like we were talking about earlier. It's like, lifting the other guy up is only gonna help you. It makes you look good.
It does, man. And like our circle, like I said, like we all use each other's stuff, man.
Yeah.
There's some brands out there and influencers where they don't touch anybody else's stuff, and it's like, it's whatever, that's why they're not in my circle.
Right. Awesome. All right, Tone.
Cool, man.